Hi, you're tuned into My Dad Says Audio. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. Today we'll be looking at my Decca London Gold stereo phono cartridge, which my father very graciously has installed on my Townshend Elite Rock Mark II with a rewired Riga RB300 tone arm with audio origami brass stub and counterweight, and Michelle finger lock and VTA adjuster with the TT weights, heavyweight brass record weight. Dad, what can you tell us about the Decca London Gold?
Yeah, well, it's sort of interesting because I've got a little bit of listening experience with Deccas. However, my son hasn't, and this has been his first experience. You know, you've listened to a number of different albums now, and whilst I've always sort of described it as probably the most dynamic cartridge that I can think of, pretty much bar any of them, I'm sort of interested in your opinion.
Well,
how's it sort of struck you, subjective wise?
Well, as you said, this is my first experience. I've owned it for a year, and there's a little story behind that. I swapped it, and it was down in one channel, but I was keen enough, thinking, oh no, you know, I've heard it's a legendary cartridge. Like Ken Kessler says, it's the best cartridge in the world. It's his favourite, and so I swapped it, and then I contacted John Wright, who was the man when it came to Deccas. And he said he can fix it. He goes, but you better be quick. I'm retiring in 14 days. So I was like, oh. So I sent it off to him pronto, and he returned it and fixed one of the coils was loose.
It was rattling.
Yeah, it was rattling inside the can.
If you gently shook it, you could hear thunk, 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 thunk.
But when you look at it, it looks like it's very old-fashioned. If you compare it to something like a modern Autophon or a modern Benz or something like that, it looks ye oldie kind of technology.
Yes.
So appearances can be deceiving. When I listened to the last record I listened to was Linkin Park Hybrid Theory, and it was an absolutely brand spanking new record, never played. And one of the things that I heard about the Decca was that it can be brash, which I think my dad explained comes down to the loading of it.
The cartridge loading.
Has to be
47K, which is the usual moving magnet input loading, is too high. You need to bring it down. We use 22K precision resistors fitted in the RCAs of the tone arm lead to load it down, and then you get a much more natural tonal balance, and they don't scream at you so much. We sort of consider that the Decca does benefit from some degree of arm damping, and as far as damping goes, the Rock is the master at damping. You can see that the silicon trough there with the paddle gives you front-end damping, whereas most tone arms, the damping is applied near the bearings. I've had a bit of a listen to this, and as far as being dynamic goes, it's quite awesome, I think. I think, as you sort of explained, you have an early Benz cartridge, and like you said, it has that. The Benz has very fine detail, but it doesn't quite have the dynamics of the Decca. The Decca it'll make you sit bolt upright if there's, you know, say a big bass note or sudden dynamic changes. It can be quite a thrilling ride, is how I'd sort of describe it.
Yeah, and a lot of the vices that I've heard are it's noisy, it's brash, it's, you know, it's can be overwhelming. I didn't hear any of that. I think for two reasons, as my dad just said, the front end dampening.
Yeah.
that helps every tone arm and cartridge basically.
Yes, yes, but it's particularly useful, I think, in this circumstance.
Yeah,
and the loading takes the rising top end that a lot of people will complain about with Deccas. The only downside with the Deccas is they tend to like fairly pristine records. Your less than perfect records might not be the most ideal or pleasant experience to listen to on it. That would be about my only reservation. I don't know about you now that you've had a bit of a play around with it. It can emphasise noise sometimes, but
with the front end dampening, that really cancels a lot of that problem out. It eliminates that issue to a large degree.
Yeah. This is, I would consider this is a good combination to use with Deccas.
Oh yeah. And as my dad told me, little bit tongue in cheek, you kind of committed now because you got some resistors in your RCAs.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, and
I mean, I can take them out, but it's yet more work.
It's another operation. Yeah, and another good thing my dad's done, he had these. It's had them since I got this rock over 10 years ago. These funny spring-loaded push-in RCAs, which never worked properly. Yeah. My dad gave me a pair of WBTs, 100 times more firm connection.
Yeah.
So that's another little upgrade. But yeah, no, the Decca, like I was looking at it and you go, oh God, it looks like a biscuit tin, and you know,
the build quality is, you know, if you look at, say, top-end Japanese cartridges, they're all works of art, whereas this has sort of got a real garage, crazy scientist look to it.
Yes. And I've heard no two are alike. There's a lot of variation in the build quality.
Yeah.
So, but I think, is it the German firm that does them now? And it's the same design, but it's in a machine metal body.
But I think it's almost $10,000 Australian.
Yeah, when are you buying me one?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now look, I got this for basically, I swapped it for, I got given a turntable for free and I swapped it for that turntable.
Yeah.
So, you know, I basically got it for the cost of the repair, which I think was, including postage, about $300.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, what can you buy? You can't really buy many, you know, I don't think you can even get a Denon DL103 for $300. I think they're more like nearly $500.
Yeah.
So, no, and it sounds fantastic, and I've listened to it on pristine records, and I've listened to it on not rough, but not mint. You know, just kind of, you know, slightly noisy records. I think I put on, I quite like, I'm not a huge classical fan, but, you know, just because growing up as a kid, I used to watch Star Wars. I had this Empire Strikes Back on vinyl, the theme tune, or the theme to that movie. And, yeah, and it's a rough record because I'm used to listening to it on my Thorens TD160. And it's not super noisy, but it wasn't particularly noisy. It didn't seem to really terribly overemphasize the noise. But I think a lot of that is the trough.
Yes.
So that just sucks down the energy. I think Max used to he had a name for it. It was instant noise, and then it's just sucked down automatically. It doesn't continue to reverberate and resonate through the tone arm and then, you know, back and forth up the arm tube. It just kind of sucks it down.
Yeah.
Or was there anything you wanted to add?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I'm glad that you've found the excitement of listening to Deccas.
Oh, I'm hooked. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, that's it for today. If you enjoy this kind of content, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting. All right, everyone, until next time, have a good one. Bye.